all the dignitaries on the dais, High Commissioner for Australia, Secretary Consumer Affairs, Government of India, DG of DRDO, Mr. T. Radhakrishna, Mr. Mohammad Uzale, all the participants here. Thank you for inviting me to this very important event. As the theme of the event is Reimagine Next in GovTech, so let me focus on a few key trends that are defining the landscape of technology today and how they are going to impact what the government is doing and what the approach the government services delivery for the citizens and businesses. As some points have been made earlier regarding the emerging technologies, so let me just pick on a few key themes from that particular domain that are defining what we are doing today and how our economy, our governance is going to evolve in future. I'm sure all of you have heard about ChatGPT. What is the full form of GPT? Yes. Yes, excellent. So how is it different from Google? Well, that's the most common comparative aspect that we need to, we can learn about.
NLP algorithm, like Google uses BERT, but this pre-training I'm not quite sure of. What
Yeah, okay, so the key difference lies in the new features that ChatGPT offers you. So as you mentioned, this is called generative. So ChatGPT, it generates or creates new content. Google will give you search results based on indexing the content on the web. And then it gives you the existing content in a somewhat indexed or in a list. It doesn't give you new content. GPT generates new content by assimilating the relevant points from different content around on which it has been trained on, and it gives you a coherent, consistent answer to the question that you're looking for. So that's the key difference, content creation and the existing content. What was there before Google? Anybody can remember the search engines of mid-90s? Because that's another key trend that we can understand and how it is going to evolve in future. What was there before Google? Mid or late 90s? Pardon?
SQL
Yes,
query.
yeah, Yahoo was before Google, yes. Alta Vista, yes. Lycos, Excite. There were quite a few search in that time. And that time, if you remember, the search results on the page were all full of links. And again, the relevance was really not that apparent as to what you were searching for and what responses you got from the search engine. When Google came, it gave you for the first time very intuitive search results on the page through a single box. And that was the defining moment of how we started accessing the web. And it has been the trend for the last more than 25 years now. And in the time to come, ChatGPT and Bard and all the other new avatars, Bing is also coming out with its own version. All this is going to define the way we search the web now onwards. And this technology called AI and a few other technologies, they are transforming the way we live, transforming the way our economy is evolving, transforming many domains where they are now being deployed in more and more numbers. The second trend that we all need to understand, and then I will talk about how it is going to impact the way the government is conducting its own activities and how it is interfacing with with the citizens and businesses. The second key trend is the importance of data. Data is the main ingredient now which is driving the evolution of these technologies in several domains. You talk about ChatGPT, Bard, or all the other AI tools. They all have been trained on massive, humongous amounts of data. And data is the key ingredient which is driving the development of these technologies. And this is the second point that we need to understand as to how the current evolution is happening and how it is going to impact in future. The third key trend that we all need to understand is the issue of cybersecurity. Do you feel there is more need now to ensure that our cyberspace is secure? Do you feel the threats in the online world when you go to any search engine or when you access any content on the web? I think perhaps the answer would be yes. And that threat has increased many-fold over the last several years, and the issue is only going to get bigger and bigger as we move forward. So that's another key trend that we need to understand, and that requires that we all should deploy measures which will make our online space safe for everyone. The fourth key trend, the fourth issue that we need to really appreciate as we move forward is the issue of privacy and online safety. Do we all feel that there is need for our own data to be in safe hands, to be handled safely, to be handled responsibly? Again, the answer would be yes. So we just understand these four key trends that are defining the current technology landscape and how it is evolving in future. Then we can understand how we can reimagine the use of these new trends in government domain or in public sphere. So what should the government be doing to really take advantage of these developments, to really improve its own services for the citizens and businesses? The first and the foremost point is that we need to create world-class IT infrastructure. It was mentioned earlier, we need to bring everyone online. Today we have about 60% of the population, that's about 850 million people online out of 1.4 billion. We need to bring the last 40% of our population in the online world. And that requires that we provide ubiquitous connectivity across the entire country, everywhere, including all the villages, all the rural areas. And to achieve this goal, there are already massive efforts underway by the government. We have the BharatNet, which is now reaching more and more villages and and hopefully will cover the entire country in the next 2 to 3 years. We have now 5G availability, which should again improve connectivity by several notches. And that should help in bringing the last 40% of our population online. The second area where the government and the public sector can really focus on is in creation of world-leading public digital platforms. It was again mentioned earlier, but again, we should appreciate that what we have done is unparalleled in the world in this entire sphere of public digital platforms. What we have done through our UPI platform, what we have done through Aadhaar, what we have done through our, for example, GST network, our government e-marketplace. These are all world-class platforms with almost no parallels anywhere else in the world. Today, we are able to connect the dots almost everywhere in the entire government sphere, across all services being offered by multiple departments. And that has become possible because these platforms have allowed us to really formulate a macro picture of the entire government sphere. And with the new data governance framework that is going to be unveiled in the coming months, it should become even easier for the government departments to offer integrated digital services to people and businesses. which would allow the multiple services now being offered in silos to be brought together onto one platform and offered to the citizens and businesses through a common single interacting interface. One example is the single sign-on platform that last year METI had unveiled. This will allow anyone, a citizen or a business, to really be able to log in just once onto the government platform and then be able to navigate across multiple websites of multiple departments and should be able to get services through one common interface, through one common interaction. So that is one example of the vision that we need to put in place so that we can really take advantage of these emerging new developments in the technology world for the public sector. We also need to create more world-class platforms in multiple domains. ONDC is one example that is going to become a reality in the time to come. There are other domains where we need to think of such approaches. We also need to focus on ensuring that multiple government departments and agencies can share data within the data governance framework to ensure that services can be integrated at the back end, and then they can be offered to the citizens and businesses through one common single interface, through one common single interaction for multiple services. So this is the second area where we really need to understand how the entire digital domain will evolve in future. The third area where we really need to put our heads together is to ensure that we make the entire cyberspace safe for everyone. One of the key reasons why we feel that the last 30% of or 40% population, they may be hesitant to come online is because of the fact that there is an element of fear. There is an element of risk due to cybersecurity when people come in the online world. That needs to be addressed, and that is the responsibility of everyone, including us, including citizens. We must adopt cyber-safe practices, understand what we need to do in the online world to prevent anyone from harming us through any attempts at phishing or stealing identity or whatever. So that's another very important area. The fourth area that is very important for the government agencies and government departments to really focus on is in the domain of ensuring that the data that we all worry about, that is handled safely and in a responsible manner. There is already a very serious effort being made by the government to bring a law on data security. And once that law is in place, then this issue will be addressed comprehensively. But even in the current framework, there is a need to focus on ensuring that our privacy, the data security can really be ensured. The fifth area, which again is very important, but which we all need to focus on, is to ensure that our entire population is skilled in the new technologies. And that requires a skilling on a massive scale, not just for the industry, which of course is a major requirement, because with the technology's rapid evolution, what we are noticing is that there is significant shortage of human resources in many areas of technology, which needs to be addressed on a very urgent basis by the government agencies and by the private sector as well. But in addition to these requirements, we also need to focus on ensuring that everyone in the country is made literate in the digital world, in the digital domain. And that again requires efforts by all the stakeholders together, including the government, the private sector, the academia, our other organizations, so that everyone can take advantage of the rapidly evolving landscape of technology. And unless we achieve that, we really cannot say with confidence that we have arrived in the 21st century digital world. And in my view, that should be the goal that we all should pursue. That is to really ensure that every one of us, all citizens, 1.4 billion people, they can come online, they can avail these services digitally, and the government departments, they should take advantage of this rapidly emerging landscape technology to offer more meaningful, more intuitive services through the digital platform. So thank you very much. This is a very important event, and I really wish all the very best for the event success and the success of the further sessions during the day. Thank you very much.